Aayush from the Lycée Michel Lucius is the 26th participant to compete with his project, The Effects of Alternative Medicine on Two Types of Bacteria. He is participating for the second consecutive year and will now take the stage to defend his project. Good luck, Aayush.
Hello everyone, my name is Aayush Pramanik, and today I will be presenting my project for this year, The Effects of Alternative Medicine on Two Types of Bacteria. So before I get into the specifics of the project, here's some basic information. So for this project or experiment, I use two types of pre-bred bacteria. I use Escherichia coli, also known as E. coli bacteria, and Bacillus subtilis, also known as B. subtilis bacteria. I then used 3 alternative medicines, which I tested on these two types of bacteria. Those medicines were Echinacea, or purple coneflower, eucalyptus oil, and belladonna. I used all these medications in either dissolved or liquid form for consistencies in my final results. My project overview. So my goals or outline for this project was really simple. I wanted to check how well each type of alternative medication that I chose would work with both the bacteria. I just wanted to see how well they repel against those types of bacteria. I also wanted to form a common ground between all the aspects of my project. Thus, I came up with a common symptom. My common symptom of cough and cold, so all the medication that I used would ideally be prescribed to someone with this symptom. I was influenced by the corona situation or the COVID-19 situation right now because people who are affected by the virus do face certain symptoms which are similar to this. So yeah. My hypothesis for this project. So my hypothesis was that the leaf-based medication, so eucalyptus oil or Echinacea, would work the best with both the types of bacteria when compared to belladonna. My evidence for this was the fact that both these medications have their origins from plant-based, and thus the plant itself in its natural form, even before it's made for human production, does repel various types of bacteria even in its natural form. So I used that fact from previous resources as my evidence for this project and hypothesis. The materials, so I used a broth form for all the medications. So I used E. coli broth and B. subtilis broth as I wanted consistency in my results. I then used some very basic apparatus such as agar plates, Bunsen burners, markers, beakers, tweezers, etc. And of course the medication. Yeah. So let's go step by step from the method that I followed to do this experiment. So I began my experiment by making the foundation of the project, the agar plates, as I strongly believe that if you start from where the project revolves around, so the agar plates, it really gives you a broader perspective on the whole project. So I first took a few petri dishes and took a marker and marked what type of medication and what type of bacteria will be placed in these petri dishes. Then after the agar was boiled, I gently poured them into the petri dishes and put them around a Bunsen burner for 5 minutes to set. Then I took the agar plates away from the Bunsen burner and took a pipette and took 2 droplets, exactly 2 droplets, of the bacterial broth and placed them into the agar plates. I then took another petri dish on the side and cut small paper discs with the hole puncher and placed them in that petri dish. I then took the dissolved form of the medication I'm using at that stage of the experiment, as I was working with different medications and different bacteria throughout the course of the project. So I took that type of dissolved medication and placed them all over the paper discs. Then I took a tweezer and gently picked up the paper disc with the medication and placed them exactly at the center of the agar plate, as this would be crucial at the later stages of the project. Then I flipped the plates around and I placed them around the Bunsen burner one last time for an attempt to avoid contamination. Then I closed them with a sellotape and placed them in an incubator for 48 hours or 2 days. I followed this method for every single medicine and bacterial reaction, and I ended up with around 18 sets of results. So yeah. Now my results section. So as I mentioned before, I ended up with a really big variety of results with different types of trials. And thus I decided to cumulatively make a bar chart with all the diameters of the inhibition zones. So the criteria I was using to measure the results was that there's a certain clear zone from where the medicine and the bacteria reacts, and then there's bacterial growth around the clear zone, the inhibition zone. And so I measured the length in millimeters of the inhibition zone to see how well the medicine worked with the bacteria. So these are my results. As you can see, eucalyptus worked the best with both types of bacteria, with a record around 11 and 17 millimeters, both with E. coli and B. subtilis bacteria. And yeah. My conclusions, so as you might have already realized, eucalyptus was the medication that worked best with both types of bacteria, which indirectly meant that this worked well with the symptom of cough and cold as well. And these are the pictures of the trials that I did with eucalyptus. And yeah. Another discussion point that I wanted to say was that people, when they feel sick, doctors usually give them modern medicine or traditional medicine, which I think, I would assume, I'll take the liberty to assume that most people watching this do not like the taste of modern medicine. And so that was another driving factor for me, because I wanted to see how well the, more better tasting medication worked, which is herbal or alternative medicine. That's why I came up with this project, and these were my results. But I still think that modern medicine does have an upper hand when it comes to new advances in the medical industry, as herbal medication or alternative medication might not always be up to date with different findings. So yeah, I think modern medication still has the upper hand, but these were my results. And that was the project. Okay. Thank you. Have a nice day.